The single biggest change that I saw was the level of engagement of my students. One of the things that we do regularly is warm up every day with a 5-minute writing exercise. And prior to using Chromebooks, some of them would really push back after 2 or 3 minutes. Once we had the Chromebooks, I would have to end the activity after 10 minutes because they were so interested in doing what they were doing. It just opened up their minds and freed their ability to really put their thoughts down concretely.
My conversations changed with the kids. The environment, there was no behavior management going on. It was a lot of kids sitting down, getting right to work. I had kids show up before classes would start just so they could get a minute or two of free time on some of the apps that we okayed, some of the science apps. They came in the room engaged. It was really beautiful to watch some kids that I couldn't connect with a paper and pencil at all, traditional style learning. And then they would come in the room and instantly get their Chromebook and open it up and get engaged in the learning.
So a subcommittee was formed to explore why, why we would want to bring technology to the middle schools and how could it support the outstanding work that the teachers had already embarked on in the middle schools. So as part of that committee, we did surveys of teachers and asked the teachers what they would use technology for. From that, we came up with the access point, which is pedagogy that we know will increase student achievement.
I primarily use technology to really engage the learner through that rapid cycle feedback process. They immediately get feedback on the learning target or objective for the day, and students are able to see that instantaneously, whereas in traditional instruction it may take me 2 or 3 days to give students that feedback, and we may already be in a place where we're moving on.
So that feedback from those quizzes helped me get to the summative test, and the results I had were amazing. I hadn't had such strong results on a summative where everyone came in fully prepared, and it was because I had based all my formatives along the way on this big grand idea that we're going to do at the end. So that that daily feedback was just tremendous.
So one of the things that technology does with self-reflection is that portfolio. Students can start to build a portfolio and a body of work that is saved someplace for them because it's not on the device, it's in the cloud. Think about, we did this at the beginning of the year. Go back in and look at your thoughts when we learned this, or look at how you wrote this, or look at what we learned, and now apply that to what we're doing now. That is something that has been near impossible in the classrooms.
We're really excited about this prospect because we've been thinking a lot about the devices, and we see the device as an accelerator to learning and a real opportunity for students to make connections and to add their voice to the classroom. So we've been talking a lot about things being culturally relevant and for students to be able to find representations from their experiences. So for example, in listening to one English teacher who was teaching a story, and she was teaching a story that involved frostbite, and there were some kids who had never seen that before. And in the past, she's had to go and find pictures and then she puts them up. So again, it's her bringing the knowledge to the students. We see this as an opportunity for the teachers to be able to stop and say, okay, let's do a quick search, and to be able to find pictures, and for them to unpack and say, oh, look what I found, and look at what it said, and look at all of the variety.
They were able to format things, they were able to generate ideas that they wanted to do. So it empowered them in their own learning. It also allowed my English language learners the ability in real time to look up information on the internet to incorporate into their writing.
One-to-one devices allow for increased flexibility, improved instruction and engagement for the learner, and also allows the teacher to give rapid cycle feedback or direct feedback to kids more frequently, which in turn creates more learning.
Now, because I'm watching them grow and do their things, I'm creating stuff that's very relevant to them, but it keeps that dialogue going constantly.
It's a lot simpler for the students to open up a Chromebook, log in 4 seconds, and be ready to go immediately. I do not make copies of anything. I do not collect copies of anything. They do everything digitally. It's a simpler process for them. It's simpler for me. They don't have to worry about losing things. Nothing is lost because it's all stored in Google Drive. From a management perspective for both the student and for teacher, it's a brilliant way manage the inflow of assignments.